U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the current round of Gaza ceasefire talks may be, quote, the last opportunity to secure a truce and the release of hostages. He's urging both Israel and Hamas not to derail negotiations.
This is a decisive moment, probably the best, maybe the last opportunity to get the hostages home, to get a ceasefire, and to put everyone on a better path to enduring peace and security. I'm here as part of an intensive diplomatic effort on President Biden's instructions to try to get this agreement to the line and ultimately over the line. It is time for it to get done. It's also time to make sure that no one takes any steps that could derail this process.
America's top diplomat made those comments during his latest visit to Israel. This is Secretary Blinken's 9th trip to the Middle East since the Gaza war began last October. He met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Isaac Herzog earlier today. He will then travel to Cairo, where ceasefire talks are expected to continue in the days ahead. Months of on-off talks with U.S., Qatari and Egyptian mediators have failed to produce a deal. Israel and Hamas have both traded blame for delaying any agreement, but there has been cautious optimism surrounding last week's talks, as U.S. and Israeli officials expressed hope that negotiators are closer to a deal. And Sarah Coates joins us live from Tel Aviv with more. Sarah, we're hearing that cautious optimism again about reaching a truce. Before we have heard it. Is it any different now? Any more reason for hope?
That is really yet to be seen, Wei Su. A huge day of diplomacy for the U.S. Secretary of State. He's just wrapped up a 3-hour meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Netanyahu's office putting out a statement saying that Benjamin Netanyahu accepts the deal, that the meeting was held in positive spirit. But we do need to remember what Netanyahu reportedly said during a cabinet meeting last night, and that was the chances are not high. Now, this comes as Hamas has seemingly rejected this new US proposal, saying that basically conditions have changed. Now, one of those is who will control the Philadelphia corridor. This is this very thin strip of land that separates Gaza and Egypt, with Israel adamant that it must be in control of it, saying that if it's not, then basically there'll be a lot of weapon smuggling into Gaza through Egypt. But this is something that Hamas says that it simply will not accept. Now, we also do need to remember the end to the war. This has been a major sticking point time and time again. Israel wants to go back into Gaza after this initial ceasefire period and keep fighting in the Strip. Well, Hamas has said that is absolutely non-negotiable. If there is a ceasefire, then it has to remain this way. So once again, this is a huge task for the US Secretary of State Blinken. In the next few minutes, he is set to meet with Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. I'm sure we'll have a bit more after that before he travels to Cairo. But really, once again, this is the same sort of thing as we've been seeing time and time again. And while there is a lot of hope, Wei Su, really not too much optimism.
And possibly not adding to any hope. Shortly after Secretary Blinken arrived in Israel, a bomb exploded near a synagogue in Tel Aviv, killing the suspected attacker. Police in Israel say it was a terrorist attack. Do we know any more about this incident?
Certainly a huge blast ripping through Tel Aviv overnight. Many people were posting on social media wondering what indeed it was, given that no rocket siren alerts went off. But this was reportedly a man in his 50s from the West Bank. He was walking through what normally would be a fairly busy area wearing a backpack. He then blew himself up. He injured a man that was actually going past and also caused a fair bit of destruction to a nearby truck. Now, since then, both Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, they have come out to claim this attack. We've got a statement here from Hamas. It says that the brigades confirm that martyrdom operations inside the occupied territories will return to the forefront as long as the occupation's massacres, the displacement of civilians and the policy of assassinations continue. So certainly very worrying, given that Palestinian Islamic Jihad and Hamas, they're both vowing that this will continue. Well, elsewhere in the region, Wei-Su in the north, what is being known as or called by Hezbollah a swarm of explosive-laden drones launched into Israeli territory a little earlier today, targeting an army base, while Israel continues to hit what it is calling Hezbollah infrastructure in southern Lebanon.
Thanks, Sarah Coates reporting live from Tel Aviv.